Welcome to Create This Book 2, episode 29, the series where I complete like a couple of pages every single video in this book written by Moriah Elizabeth. So if you guys want to check out the entire playlist, it will be, of course, linked in the description box. And I am almost done. I have 10 pages left to go after this one, so let's get going. So the first prompt says create a series. So as I have an office themed page already in the Create This Book 2, I decided I must do one as well for the arguably better counterpart of Parks and Rec. So I printed out this coloring page just because I wanted to make my life a little bit easier, and I colored that in and also ended up drawing some other things that I thought were kind of fun quirks of Parks and Rec and would kind of represent the show. So I colored those in with my Crayola Super Tips and cut those out. And I also wanted to make a little map of Pawnee, Indiana. So I'm doing this on a separate piece of printer paper, just with a little pen of all of the iconic locations, and then coloring that in again with my Crayola Super Tips. I find that now that my book is like massive, I have to do pretty much all of the pages outside of the book before actually putting it inside the book, so I'd have to glue it in after, which is fine. It makes it easier, and I think it also helps just to make the process a little bit more enjoyable as well. So this is the map. I kind of messed up on the colors of green that I ended up wanting, but it's fine. I'm adding some details in the background, like some grass, some trees, and little plants, and then I am placing everything into my book over here. I'm like really struggling and wrestling the book with like binder clips and stuff, but it's honestly not really possible anymore. For the background, I'm coloring that in with colored pencil just to kind of look like grass. I don't use colored pencil often, but I thought this was the perfect time to do so, and I think overall it turned out really well. So if you are a Parks and Rec fan, hopefully you appreciate this page like I do. So that is how this one turned out. The next prompt is create animal prints. So the classic thing to do for this would be like a dog or a cat, and probably I would have done my cat, but I was feeling a little bit different, so I decided to draw this cute little goose wearing a little outfit and then do goose prints on the bottom. So I am drawing this out with some marker, coloring it in. I've never drawn a goose before, so this was pretty cool. I drew a little bonnet for her and a little shawl, and I wanted to add some actual lace because I had that laying around. On the bottom part, I added a little grass patch and then some flowers and leaves, greenery, and all of that coming from behind her. I'm using my Tombow markers over here if you're curious. I cut that out, added in some extra details, kind of similar to my other page. I have to do everything on separate pieces of paper. These little green blobs are all of the footprints. They hopefully look like goose footprints, who knows. And then I also added some little details coming from behind it, like flowers and stuff, and I cut those all out. I wanted to add something a little bit more 3D for some texture, so I made this little bow out of some fabric, and like it kind of worked. It doesn't really match the page, and the page didn't really like work out in my favor for my vision, but that's totally fine. So here I am making the bow, which was actually like surprisingly easy to make. So I don't think I've ever done that for an art journal page, which is kind of fun. I had these leftover little greenery pieces from a craft kit, so I decided to just put those on in the background, and they kind of don't look great, but that's fine. They needed to be used up anyways. So yeah, this page is like not my favorite, but that's totally fine. I think it would have looked better if I had colored the page with like colored pencil first in like a light blue or something, maybe watercolor, but that's totally fine. I think the goose is cute still. And the last page, and my favorite page, says create a page. So essentially you're supposed to use a page from something else and incorporate it in here. So I decided to draw a library because I thought that that'd be fun. So I'm just marking this out with a dark brown Tombow marker. I wanted it the colors to be pretty moody, so I did this in like a dark brown, coloring that in, and then I'm doing an array of different colored books all across here with like darker colors. This was really fun to do, and I just like kind of freehanded these. I didn't draw out the books first because that would have been super annoying with the pencil marks, because I always do that and it's like awful. So not having pencil marks was super great. And then I'm coloring the background in with a dark chocolate brown to add some dimension, and I'm adding some little details on the front. So I had this IKEA magazine lying around, so I decided that would be my page that I'm going to use to incorporate. So I decided to bind a little book. I'm folding in half a bunch of like sets of pages and then sewing across there so that I can combine all 3 sets of pages into a little book. So there's a little book on the left, super cute. I used the outside of the IKEA magazine for the cover, which worked really well. Then I wanted to make somebody enjoying the library, so I drew this girl with a pencil first, and then outlined with this brown Tombow marker. So she's like sitting in the library looking at a book with a cute little claw clip in and a tote bag, and I thought it turned out like pretty well. I'm not the greatest at drawing people, which is why I don't do it often, but it was good practice because I honestly hadn't done it in like a super long time. So just to match the theme, I also colored her in with some pretty moody colors like dark green for her cute little sweater and brown. And I'm using Tombow markers again. I guess this entire video is just a theme of me using markers. I guess maybe I should branch out a bit more, but that's kind of sometimes how it goes. So I cut her out and glued her onto the bookshelf, and then glued the book on top. So it's kind of like a little pop-out book, which is super cool. And I glued this into the Create This book too. And I didn't like how the white was like super bright and like kind of wrecked the moodiness of the scene, so I just colored it all over with more bookshelves and books, and I think this turned out well, just so that the prompt isn't like the brightest thing and the vibe was set for the entire page. And here it is. I'm obsessed with it. I think it's adorable. Love the colors. And as an avid reader and me being also obsessed with books, I think this is great. I love a good pop-out page, so the book is really awesome for this. So that's how this one turned out. And of course, after doing some more pages, I have to update this master list on my iPad. So I think after this one, I ended up having like 10 pages left to go, which honestly, like, we're pretty much at the single digits here, which is crazy. So that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you check out my entire playlist if you're interested, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.